What is up, you guys? It's Leizel and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I thought that I would sit down with you guys and talk all things books. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos, my vlogs in particular, then you would know that I'm a big reader. I do like to give you guys recommendations here and there, like I'll throw in a recommendation in a vlog, tell you guys what I'm currently reading, that kind of thing. But I thought that I would sit down today and just give you a list of books that I feel like everybody should read, particularly if you are on that same type of journey that I am, which is that of personal development, self-growth, and healing. I feel like all of these recommendations that I have today are definitely on that type of wavelength. So if that's what you guys are into, definitely stay tuned. There's quite a few actually, now that I'm looking at the pile. I thought I was only going to recommend 5, but then I was going through my library and I was like, okay, this, and this. So there's a lot, but I promise that they are all gems, so keep on watching. So I recently opened up a little more about my journey of healing, particularly when it comes to past traumas, childhood traumas, that kind of thing. And I feel like this book that I'm about to talk about really kicked that into overdrive for me. I feel as though my journey with healing has been something that I have been kind of slowly navigating through for a while, but this book right here definitely kicked it up a notch, and I was like, wow, this has changed the game. So if you're in that kind of state at the moment where you feel stuck, or you feel as though you really want to get started with your healing journey, or you kind of have started it but you need a little more of a push to get through it, then this book is what you need. So this is How to Do the Work by Dr. Nicole LePera. I honestly hadn't even heard of her, hadn't heard of this book, but I obviously saw it on a bookshelf in the bookstore and I kind of gravitated towards it. It was so strange. I picked it up, opened a page, and it was like exactly what I needed in that moment. Like the page was talking about things that I needed to hear in that particular moment, and that's why I was like, wow, okay, I got to take this home with me so I can see what it's all about. And I feel like this book, it definitely does go through the process of helping you recognize certain patterns that you may have developed throughout the years without having even realized that you've developed them, or that you participate in them regularly. And also will encourage you not to just recognize them, but also to change them, which I feel as though is probably the most difficult part when it comes to healing, is not just recognizing what the issue is, but having to change it. So that's a whole different thing, and I feel like this book is very actionable. So if you're on that kind of healing journey and you want to kick it up a notch, and like I said, if you're feeling a little bit stuck and you need a little bit of help when it comes to that, I would recommend picking this up and reading it. I think when I bought this, I read it within a week because I was just so intrigued by it. I have so many pages underlined in here and notes and whatnot, so definitely if you're on that healing journey, this is one that you need to pick up. So this next book that I'm going to recommend to you guys is actually quite an easy read, and I feel like it's one of those books where you read it and it gives you like an aha moment where you're like, wow, that totally makes sense. So this is Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and It's All Small Stuff by Richard Carlson. And I think he does do a few other little versions of this, like Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff for Women, for Men, that kind of thing. But I feel as though this is like the generalized version, where this right here is such an easy read. Like every kind of point, I feel, I don't know how to describe it, but I'll say like point, only goes for like a page or two, and it's just like a little piece of enlightenment where you read it and it makes you realize like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So as the title says, don't sweat the small stuff, it really is all about that. I feel like if you are kind of experiencing depression, anxiety, trauma, that kind of thing, this will help to open up your mind a little bit more to realize that certain things really aren't worth stressing over. So yeah, I feel as though this is a very easy read. Like I said, each point only goes for like a page or two. It's like small portions of wisdom that pack a punch. So that is why I definitely would recommend picking up this one. Now, if you were to ask me what is a book that has changed your life, it would definitely be this one right here, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This book, you guys, I would have to say this would be my #1 book to recommend to anyone and everybody to read. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what you're about. This is a book that needs to be read by everybody. I remember I had a different version of this many years ago when I read it for the first time, and it was like a moment of enlightenment for me, where I was reading the pages and I was just like, wow, this is exactly what I need in this moment. Basically, The Power of Now really focuses and emphasizes on the fact that there is no future, there is no past, there is literally just now. And we spend a lot of our time worrying about the future or being upset over what's already happened, but in reality the future hasn't come yet, the past is already gone. You can't do anything to change either. All you can focus on is where you are right now, and that's definitely what this book focuses on. And I would have to say, after reading this, it definitely changed my perception of just life in general and the way that I view things. So I did have a previous version of this book before, but I recently repurchased it just because I wanted it for my collection and I wanted to read it again. And honestly, it is, like I said, one of those books that I feel as though everybody needs to read, because it really does preach the whole notion of being present, which I feel is what we tend to forget about, especially in today's society when everything is so fast-paced and we have social media and just so many different things around us that are taking our attention away. I feel like we do struggle with being present, and this book definitely does pull you back to center to realize that all we have is now. So yes, if I could recommend any of the books, like if you were wanting like, okay, Leizel, there's a lot of books, which one do you think I should read first? This would be it, The Power of Now. Another book that definitely changed my life for the better would be The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And again, this is one of those books that I read and I was like, wow, this is exactly what I need. So basically, as the title suggests, 4 agreements, and those are: be impeccable with your word, do your best, don't take things personal, and don't make assumptions. So basically, if you live your life with those mantras, then you live life being a lot more conscious and aware of what you're putting your energy and effort into. When Alan and I first started talking, my fiance Alan, he would always bring up points from this book, and it made me realize, like, oh my gosh, he's read that book. And then that was the moment that I knew that he was the one for me. But really, this book, again, it's one of those ones that I think everybody needs to read. Definitely is, again, one of those books that encourages you to look at the bigger picture and be more present and center with yourself in your life. And it is a very easy read. Like, it's not difficult at all, very easy to read, very straightforward and simple. And it's just one of those books that is like, oh, okay, like I knew that, but this breaks it down really easily for me to digest. So yes, The 4 Agreements is a must read once again. So this next book was actually one that I picked up a few months ago, and it was because I was starting to become a little more curious about Stoicism. So basically, this is The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. And if you don't know what Stoicism is, it basically is the practice of being more balanced. So not letting the negative affect you, not letting the positive sway you too much, just being very balanced and having no reaction to things, or not being overly reactive to things. So for example, world leaders would practice being stoic, or you would describe them as being stoic because they are very balanced, calm, even though things can be going crazy around them. Their job is to keep order and keep calm so that their people can stay calm, if that makes sense. So essentially, it's like a day to a page. So you've got like the dates in here. And this is something that I actually read in the morning. So if I'm having a coffee or while I'm having breakfast, like I'll just have a look at what date it is today and just read like what the passage is. So it has like a little passage and then it has an explanation about it. And I feel as though it's just kind of good to get that little piece of wisdom in the morning, something to kind of get your mind going and to set the tone for the day. I feel like it's really great. And again, this is something that I'll probably reread over again, because even though you read a day to a page, you can continue reading it 3 years to come. It's just like kind of like a daily devotional in that sense, where it's like you read it in the mornings. Same kind of thing with this, and I feel like it definitely does, as I said, encourage that whole mindset of being more stoic, where you're a lot more balanced and aware and conscious of not being overly reactive to things and just staying calm when things are getting crazy, which I feel like is what we all need in today's society. Next up, we have Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King. Now, I wasn't too sure about this, to be honest, in the first place. I was like, I don't know if this is something that I really need to read, but I do like the way it's written because it's written very, like, in a way that's very easy to digest, which I like. And I feel like it's very personal. Like, he shares a lot of his personal stories and how he's overcome things. So essentially the whole vibe of this book basically talks about how self-love is the key to unlocking your true self, like your greatness, which I feel like is a very big reminder that we all need to hear from time to time, is that we don't need to worry about what other people are doing or finding value in relationships or in objects or in other people. It's just all about finding value within yourself, like putting yourself first, because at the end of the day, if you can't love yourself, then how can you truly love others? And I feel like that is a great reminder, and this book kind of covers that. So yeah, he talks about like practicing self-care, recognizing toxic traits within yourself, a little bit of manifestation, how you can incorporate good habits into your daily routine to help you become a better individual, that type of thing. And I feel like it's a very well-rounded type of book. So if you're kind of looking for an easy read and just a very positive one at that, I would definitely recommend this because it is very easy to digest and understand. And I feel like, yeah, it's a great book. It's definitely one that I will have to read again. Next up, we have a book that I feel as though almost everybody has read at this point, but with good reason. So this is Atomic Habits by James Clear, and this one does fall under the category of productivity, but again, that aligns with bettering yourself, which is why I really enjoyed this one. So basically, he talks all about how the small changes that you make within your daily routine ultimately impact the bigger picture of your life. So for example, I remember reading something in this where he talks about if you were to keep your medicine, like your supplements, your daily vitamins, stored in a more visual place where you'll see them every day, as opposed to stored in the back of your medicine cupboard, then you are more likely to take them because of the fact that they're right there. It's like a trigger in your mind. You don't even have to think about it. You don't even have to think about remembering to take them. It's just there as a reminder already. So this book is very actionable, which is why I enjoyed it. And like I said, he really talks about how the tiny changes ultimately make up the bigger picture of your life and the quality of it. So that's why I really enjoyed it, and it is very actionable. Like, there are a lot of suggestions in here for how you can put those practices into your daily life, and that's why I feel as though that's why everybody loves this book and why I am jumping on the bandwagon and recommending it to you guys. Next up, we have a book that I was a little apprehensive about buying in the first place, I will admit, but I did pick it up and I'm glad that I did because I really enjoyed it. So this is Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty, and honestly, the reason why I was apprehensive about reading it in the first place is just because, I mean, a lot of you guys would know who Jay Shetty is, and I just felt like, well, of course he's easy to sell a book because he's a personality, like people know who he is. But the knowledge that he packed into this book, I'm not even kidding you guys, I bought it and I read it within 2 days. Like, I read all of this within 2 days, and it's highlighted and underlined and got notes in it galore. Like, I really enjoyed it, and I just felt like it was really relatable to me at the time that I was reading it. Like, it was definitely something that I needed at the time. I have opened up to you guys recently about my struggles with depression and how I've been trying to navigate through that and ultimately break out of that pattern, and I feel as though this book definitely was a well-rounded piece that I needed to read at that time. So the title speaks for itself. It does talk about his personal journey through becoming a monk, because he did go through that himself, and then it also talks about the process of overthinking and how to stop it, how to stop your negative thought patterns, how to find your purpose, that kind of thing. And like I said, it was a very easy read because I read it within 2 days. I don't know if I was just like super engaged with it, but to me, if I'm able to pick up a book and I can't put it down and I finish it, like a book like this, within a couple days, then that's how I know that it is definitely good. And yes, I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I was going to, and I'm glad that I picked it up. So again, it's definitely why I recommend it to you guys. All right, so I don't know exactly how many books I've given you guys as recommendations so far, but this is the last one, and this is currently my favorite read, just because again, I like reads that are very easy, very straightforward, to the point. Not that they don't require much thinking, like it is thought invoking, but it's easy to digest, which is why I like it. So this is 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think by Brianna West. And the reason why I enjoyed this is because, yeah, there are 101 essays in here, but they're very easy to read and digest, and a lot of them do come in bullet points. So if I'll show you guys, for example, this one right here, the little things you don't realize are affecting how you feel about your body. And then it's very easily like dot pointed what it is and a little bit of like a caption about it, if that makes sense. So super easy to read, and it's just so like random. I feel like it's very well rounded. It's random, but a lot of them are very relatable. Like there's not a single essay in here that you would not relate to, I feel. So yeah, there's a lot of good things in here, like this one, how to actually change your life this year, how to become the kind of person who deserves the life you want, that kind of thing. And it's just really easy to read. I actually like to read this like every now and then. It's not like I'm actively reading it every single day. I'll read it in the mornings, like as I'm having breakfast, as I'm having coffee, kind of like my morning paper type of thing, just because it's so easy. So I'll just like pick a random page and be like, okay, this is the essay that we're reading today. So yeah, I definitely do enjoy this. I mean, if we just talk about like aesthetically, definitely my aesthetic, but the contents of the book itself is really great. And I feel like, as I said, it is very relatable to everybody. Like I feel as though there's not a person in this world who will read this book and not at least relate to one of the pieces within this. So I do enjoy it, and I feel like it is definitely a great read. So there we have it, you guys. Those are all of my current recommendations for books. Some of them are from years ago, some of them more recent, but regardless, if you are on that kind of self-healing, self-improvement, personal development type of journey, then any one of these books will definitely assist with that. So I hope you guys enjoyed my recommendations. If you have any for me, definitely comment them down below. I will leave a list of everything in the description box below, so you can go check them out for yourself and purchase them if you want. But yes, that's basically it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you find it helpful and insightful. As always, I will talk to you guys in the comments. I hope you guys are staying safe, looking after yourselves, and looking out for each other. And I will see you guys in my next video.